or here May 9th, 2023. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody could remain standing for just a moment, I'd like to have a moment of silence, and today's reason will be we seem to be having a lot of mass shootings and killings across the country, and just keep all those families and victims in our prayers. Thank you very much. Time will be allotted at the end of each meeting for the commissioners to receive comments from the public. We have some public notices. We have, we have code home rule, wait a minute here, got my computer messed up, but anyhow, I got the Code Home Rule Bill number 1-2023, erosion and sediment control, floodplain management, forest conservation, subdivision of land, and it's just the adoption notice. No action needed. Then we have agricultural preservation, public advisory, public hearing notice. Bill, you want to comment on that, or is that's just
preparing for the next meeting, so that folks are aware that we'll be discussing this now. It's advertising.
very good.
Thank you, sir.
We have some consent items. There's a regular session minutes dated May 2nd, 2023, the liquor minutes dated May 2nd, 2023, and Radcliffe Creek School raffle only, May the 27th, 2023. Could entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We have some proclamations. The first one, we'll have Captain Ernest Wicks and Captain Steve Wallace from the Kent County Detention Center to talk about Correctional Officers and Employees Week. You gentlemen want to have anything you want to say? I know we have prepared a proclamation. You can come forward, sure.
That's Captain Mustard.
Captain Mustard, that's right. That's what
I just want to say, Correction Officer Week is very important to us because it's one part of the year where we get some kind of recognition as far as from the public and things like that for a job that's thankless. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't know what corrections is all about. They're thinking that, oh, they're in the building, oh, they're fine, they're away from the public and things like that, not knowing that all the intricate detail that goes on with housing and mental health and food and all this stuff that has to take place for each individual inmate. So we want to thank you as commissioners for recognizing it as well. And so it's a great day.
Very good. And we're actually declaring May the 7th through the 13th as Correctional Employees Week. And Commissioner Price will read a proclamation that we've prepared.
And Mustard, so you and Captain Wallace understand, I know the three of us up here
Yes.
recognize what you do and the sacrifices that you make on a daily basis to maintain a very secure environment there.
Yes, sir.
And we certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
For sure.
So having said that, this is the proclamation, Correctional Employee Week, May 7th to 13th, 2023. Whereas much is expected from the men and women who work in our county correctional facility every day, and whereas correctional employees are skilled professionals who act as counselors, communicators, and experts in crisis intervention, and must preserve the safety of our lives and property, maintaining their professional demeanor while often facing hostile, aggressive, and intimidating behavior from inmates. And whereas the general public should fully appreciate correctional employees capable handling of the physical and emotional demands made upon them daily. Simply because a criminal is caught and incarcerated does not mean he or she is no longer a threat to our community. Men and women of corrections are confronted each day by the most dangerous individuals among us. Their profession requires careful and constant vigilance, and the threat of violence is always present. At the same time, these dedicated employees try to improve the living conditions of those who are being confined. And whereas the men and women of the Kent County Detention Center unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Kent County, call upon all citizens of Kent County to observe the week of May 7th through May 13th, 2023 as Correctional Employees Week, which all of our citizens may join in commemorating correctional employees past and present. It is further proclaimed that the Commissioners acknowledge the week of May 7th through the 13th, 2023 as the National Correctional Officers Week in honor of those correctional officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of their duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of all fallen heroes. The County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Vithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, John F. Price, Member. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Come over here and we'll get a snapshot.
And do we, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a certificate of recognition
Wanna
for
do
an
that too?
employee of yours as well. Should we do that now? And you want to do that at the same time? You want to speak to that, Captain Wicks, or?
I can.
Okay, Captain Wallace, sure.
This year, the peers at the correctional facility picked Corporal Scarborough for her hard work, dedication, and always being professional. Not only is she an outstanding officer, but a great person. And without further ado, Corporal Scarborough is here, and we'd like to present her with this certificate
And,
as Officer of the Year.
and it will be our pleasure to do that, and Captain Nickerson will read that. You want to come up? I mean, Commissioner Nickerson. Look, it's early in the morning. We're not doing well this morning. You just bear with us.
And I'm not done yet. This is to certify that Lucretia Scarborough is hereby recognized for exemplary service and dedication to the correction profession. We, the Kent County Commissioners, Kent County, Maryland, are proud to join the warden and staff of Kent County Detention Center in recognizing Lucretia Scarborough as Employee of the Year. The County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland signed Ronald H. Vithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, and John F. Price, Member. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And then we have Louise Miller and Sarah Sayre. Are they someone, you want to come forward? Okay, will you come up and introduce whoever you have with you? And we're here for National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Kent County.
Yes, we're here for the proclamation for National Gun Violence Awareness Day. We're from Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. This is Mary Hunt Miller, Sarah Sayre. We are the Upper Shore chapter of the organization.
Very good. And we have prepared a proclamation, and it reads as follows. Kent County, Maryland proclamation. National Gun Violence Awareness Day dated June the 2nd, 2023. Says, whereas to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to reduce gun violence. And whereas every day more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, and on average there are nearly 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas municipalities across the nation, including Kent County, Maryland, are working to end the senseless gun violence. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is local government's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes together with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And whereas by wearing orange on June the 2nd, 2023, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. Now therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Kent County, call upon all citizens of Kent County to observe June the 2nd, 2023 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day, which all of our citizens may join in the efforts to prevent the tragedies of gun violence and to honor and value human lives in Kent County, Maryland. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, John F. Price, Member, dated May the 9th, 2023. So it's our privilege on behalf of the citizens to present you with this proclamation. So would you like to have a picture taken? Okay.
Please. Do you want to know what we're doing for this day?
Well, I'm sorry.
What activity we're having?
Would you like to tell us?
Yeah. Which way? We are going to be lighting the fountain in Fountain Park orange with John Hanley's help. So that after dark will become orange. And then over at Stam's Luncheonette, we're going to have tables with information where people can learn about what they can do to help reduce gun violence in Kent County, well, in America. And we're going to be offering a special drink, which is going to be orange soda and vanilla ice cream to go along with the theme of Wear Orange.
Very nice.
Which will be donated, right? The proceeds?
Yes,
Part of
right.
the proceeds will be donated.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
to our organization.
Very good. Thank you. And our first appointment is Dr. Karen Couch, Superintendent, and Craig Kirby, Accountant for Kent County Public Schools. And it's Kent County Public Schools FY 2023 Pass-Through Grant Concurrence Letter.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, President Fithian, Commissioners, Mrs. Heller. We're here this morning to have your approval. It's not any cost to the county, but we do have to have your signature on a grant that we are applying for to replace lighting at the Trojan Stadium. So I'm going to turn it over to Craig because he has the details and he can share that information with you.
Sure. As Dr. Couch said, good morning. As she said, this is a new grant from the state. Essentially, it's called a pass-through grant. We believe it's going to be recurring every year, but as part of the procedures guide, we do have to have county approval. Even though it is a 100% funded state grant, it still needs county approval just so that we can show that the county agrees with the project that we're proposing to do. We are combining this with a school safety grant as well to replace the lighting out at Kent County High School. As everybody's aware, the lights that are there unfortunately aren't manufactured anymore. So once they burn out, they're out. So, we're at a point where they've started to go out. So now it's time that we have to go ahead and replace them.
They will be replaced with LED lights. Currently, there's probably about 50% of the lights that are not working right now. So you can only watch 50% of the football game. No, I'm teasing. So anyways, we've been waiting to, trying to figure out how we were going to replace the lights. This grant came through, and it was an opportunity not only to replace the lights, but also add some lights at the on the exterior of Kent County High School to light up some of the parking lots as well.
How old are the existing lights?
Old.
The reason I ask, and Mustard might be able to help me with this, weren't the current lights in memory of Mark Blake, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. I just wanted to bring that up. Mark Blake was a high school football player who lost his life at a very young age. And I think those lights that are there currently were dedicated to him. I just wanted to bring that up.
And I think also in recognition, I think Commissioner Pickeram was involved in helping to get those lights put out there as
Okay.
well, from my understanding.
Okay, probably, yeah.
So,
Maybe we could think about maybe rededicating the new LED lights for Mark Blake, if you all think that's a good idea. And
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Him and, yeah, absolutely,
we
yeah.
can certainly talk about that.
Sure. So
we're
having
asking
heard-
for approval.
I'm sorry,
We're asking for your approval.
you are.
We are.
That's the first time you've,
Respectfully.
that's the first time you've ever asked for it.
I don't think so.
Just kidding. Just
You
kidding.
want to go with it? I'm there with you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement on the Kent County Public Schools FY 2023 pass-through grant submission.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Kirby.
Next, we have Katie Dilley, Executive Director, Midshore Behavioral Health Incorporated, with an annual presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
This morning, I am joined by Lisa Short. Lisa is our Adult Behavioral Health Coordinator at Midshore Behavioral Health, but she also represents Kent County as her primary county of representation in her role at our agency. So this morning, we're here for our annual presentation, just of some highlights of what's been going on in our system, as well as to ask for your endorsement to continue to serve as the core service agency for Kent County. So Midshore Behavioral Health represents all 5 counties here in the Midshore as a core service agency. So this is something we do request of each county annually, and offer just some highlights of what's been going on in the region, as well as some things we're looking forward to in the coming year. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so that's a priority for us to come and join you during May in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. May has been celebrated as such since 1949, so it's a significant month, and the color green is also in honor of mental health awareness. And this week in particular in Maryland is Children's Mental Health Matters Week. So in concert with celebrating our correctional officers, we're also acknowledging the mental health of our youth in the community this week. A couple of highlights. I know I had the pleasure of joining you all on Friday morning last week to do a presentation of an overview of some of the statistics and needs here in the region to help assist with the planning for the A.F. Whitsitt Center sustainability, and I just want to thank you for that opportunity. That has been something that at Midshore Behavioral Health and in correlation with our Eastern Shore Behavioral Health Coalition, we've been working for several years with the leadership of the Kent County Health Department to advocate for the services that are offered there, as well as the sustainability of the facility itself. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to work on that project with you all in the next several months and years. I'm anticipating we'll continue to be working to advocate for that. So I just want to thank you again for your support.
And I'd just like to say you've done a very nice job with your presentation.
Oh,
for that
thank
meeting.
you.
Yeah, we
Thank-
appreciate that.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. So a couple of additional highlights. One thing that we have been working on since 2016 with all 5 of our health departments in the region that serve as the local addictions authority is looking at how we will work together to at some point potentially be a more integrated structure to serve as the local behavioral health authority for the region. I do know that your health officer, Bill Webb, has extended a formal invitation to Midshore Behavioral Health to formally embark on a plan to look at how we can integrate to support the local addictions authority more formally in the next couple of years. So our board at Midshore Behavioral Health has endorsed beginning that process. So I've been working closely over the last few months with Bill Webb and Brenna Fox in her role as the director of the Local Addictions Authority to start looking at how we could plan for that and make sure that we're complementing the services here in the county as much as we can.
And I might add, at that meeting that you were referencing, where you give us the rundown, I'm not sure my colleagues are aware of it, but I was at that meeting, and the deputy secretary, we went from the Whitsitt Center from being on a divestiture list
Right.
to then being taken off of the divestiture list. And then at that meeting that we were at Friday, was Friday, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Friday morning, yes.
He announced that not only had it been taken off the divestiture list, but that the governor had or the state had allocated $4 million
$1 million,
for
that's right.
upgrading the infrastructure of that facility. So it's certainly, everything's heading in the right direction, and
It most definitely is.
Yeah.
And we're really excited about that and hopeful to continue to see the state contribute to that facility as much as possible.
sure.
And I think, $4 million is a really good start. I anticipate it will take more than that to get the building where we'd like to see it, but it's been a long process. I know at Midshore, we've been able to secure a few federal grants for services at the building, but the capital that is allocated into those grants is very limited. So I think one grant allowed us to give $80,000, another $50,000 towards capital, but that was really just a drop in the bucket. So $4 million is really exciting to have contributed to that buildings for the infrastructure.
And in hearing that, you would have to assume that their plans are moved, they wouldn't be spending $4 million if they weren't thinking of taking the next step.
Future investment, right.
Yes,
I
yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I do, and that's.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no,
you.
that's okay. No, it's an exciting, a year ago, when I presented, I would not have anticipated the progress that we've made, but it's well-received and exciting. And I think the new administration is very aware of the need to support and sustain services in the state, not take them away. And the A.F. Whitsitt Center has certainly served our community well, wearing multiple different hats over the years. Right now, it's primarily substance use treatment, and we're exploring how that facility can maybe even serve more community members down the road with, of course, the priority being getting the building itself in good shape. So, yes.
Especially on the Eastern Shore,
Oh, absolutely.
which we have very, very limited resources here
Very.
anyhow, so.
Very limited resources, definitely. One additional thing or several new things that we're going to be sharing this morning, but one new development to your crisis response system here in Kent County is that this past year, we've dedicated a team for the Mobile Response and Stabilization Services, which is a crisis unit just for our child and adolescent population, to be working with the school system as well as Department of Social Services with youth that have been identified as at risk, to already have clinicians reporting to their family and to their homes before crisis is really needed, or crisis services are really needed. So that's a new development that over the last year, we've been able to bring up that team to serve.
How does someone reach that mobile unit you're talking about? Because you referenced that at our meeting
Right.
Friday.
So there's a couple different
And I meant to ask you
ways.
then, is there a number that people?
Yes, folks can be connected through our Eastern Shore Operations Center hotline. Let me make sure, it's 1-888, I don't want to get it wrong, 407-8018 is the hotline number. 988, which is the new National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Our mobile team, or our Eastern Shore team, is the backup hotline responder for the 988 phone number. So ideally, they would either call one of those two numbers, and they can be connected to the hotline center, which would either send out a crisis team or provide them with referrals for urgent care appointment or, services here in the community. But for this one new team in particular that's working with our youth, we've been working in collaboration with the school system as well as our Department of Social Services to really do the referrals into affiliated Sante Group to have the youth added to their service list. So the referrals are coming from various community providers, but a family member or community member could call one of the hotlines too and ask for help, and ideally have that resource extended to them. So.
Lacey, you got, one of you sure took that number down. Those
Yeah, and
numbers.
it's
Thank
included
you.
in our materials this morning that we provided,
Very
so. We do, as we've been talking about the Witsit Center, we provide grant dollars to offer 12 crisis beds at the Witsit Center for individuals that are facing either opioid misuse disorder or misusing stimulants, so cocaine or methamphetamines. These are federal grant dollars through the State Opioid Response Grant. I believe we're in our 5th year of administering that grant, and it's been an extraordinary resource. And that is a service that's available for anyone in the community, whether you have insurance or not. They're just grant-funded beds for crisis substance use treatment. We've recently added through the same grant a regional harm reduction coordinator. So we have an individual that's going to be working with all of the health departments to look at regionalizing how harm reduction looks in the community. So the availability of Narcan, fentanyl testing strips, and opportunities just to provide substance use education to our community members. So we're looking forward to starting those initiatives hopefully in the next fiscal year. We have some new dollars coming in FY24 for suicide prevention. We're going to be working in particular with doing some initiatives around gun safety and the extreme risk protective order process. We also secured some grant funds to purchase gun safety locks. So for the trigger locks to be distributed at community events, as well as anytime we have an individual that has crisis response go to their household, we'll be leaving behind the gun locks for homes that identify that they do have firearms on the property. And we're also going to be doing a specific initiative with our first responders and law enforcement when they go through the crisis intervention team training to offer the same resource with gun locks to have in their homes as well as in their communities. So that's going to be a new initiative starting in July. We have a provider that has welcomed the opportunity as well to become our regional suicide awareness coalition. We don't have such a coalition here in the Midshore. I know our Lower Shore partners have a very active coalition that works with providers as well as individuals that have a family member or a loved one that they've lost to suicide. The Lower Shore group has offered to do some technical assistance for us up here in the Midshore region, and this year we will be working with Channel Marker, whose primary office is out of Easton, but they will be serving the region as starting off that coalition. So when we have more information on, welcoming partners and inviting individuals to participate, we'll be sure to share that with you all. All right, let's see. One thing that's been successful, and I know I shared this last year, is we continue to have a wonderful partnership to help serve and respond to individuals that are on the Bay Bridge that are electing to try to take their life. So we have developed a Bay Bridge partnership, which started in August of 2020. That partnership has grown with other statewide partners to really analyze how we are serving those in need that are presenting as at risk for suicide. So this has been a partnership with law enforcement, the Maryland Department of Transportation Authority, crisis response providers on both sides of the bridge, so Queen Anne's County and Annapolis and Anne Arundel. But what's happened out of that partnership is we've really helped use it as a model to develop the state crisis response system. So it's served our state well as well to really look at what's working and what's not working well to help individuals that are presenting in crisis. So we continue to work very well, and we're developing some more formal protocols with how law enforcement and the Transportation Authority respond to those incidents. And hopefully those protocols and some of our MOUs with how counties are cross-county responding to these incidents will become something that's more formalized across the state. So more to come on that, but it's been a great opportunity. Another initiative, we're very sensitive to just the at-risk and need for our first responders to be taking care of themselves. We offered a special training for first responders as well as law enforcement this April on the best practices for resilience and just working on, stress management, how to ask for help, really, peer support in terms of supporting one another in the field, because we recognize that suicide and first responders is a very high-risk population. So we're taking a lot of time to really focus in on how we're serving that community. So I will hand it over to Lisa to give you a couple of Kent County specific highlights and some data. And thank you for your time today.
Good morning. Like she said, I'm going to go over the Kent County specific highlights, just some of them to note. Midshore has awarded funds for the new position of an employment specialist at the AF Whitsitt Center, which will support the clients that are there, hopefully to reintegrate back into employment to support their recovery. Our Midshore staff participate in numerous meetings in Kent County, including the local care team meetings, the LDAC provider meetings, the multidisciplinary meetings that is coordinated by social services. Our staff participate in resource fairs, career and college fairs, the mental health resource fair that happened this May. We also participated in the 2022 Color Run for Kent Goes Purple. And this coming 2023, we'll be hosting Going Purple Together here in Kent County. Midshore has awarded funds to Menary's Dream Alliance and continues to advocate for expanded services. Those funds went to support the Adolescent Clubhouse to support the youth in the community. Let's see. We also attended the Kent County Homelessness Conference in September and participate in the Kent Homeless Coalition, an effort to support those community members that are misplaced in housing. We did support a situation and coordinated support for many tenants that were facing eviction at Chestertown Landing. I think that's it.
Did you want to say the numbers?
And the number, community members served here in Kent County is 1,075
For mental health.
for mental health, yes.
And then the substance use number is, let's see, in
Here,
this one, 600.
626 community members were served for substance abuse disorder in Kent County
Last year.
last year.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a little business to take care of as well, so we're looking for a motion to approve the FY 2024 letter of agreement. Entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the FY 2024 letter of agreement with Midshore Behavioral Health Incorporated to act as the core services agency for the oversight, planning, and development of the public behavioral health system in Kent County.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion, all opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Charles Mills, our GAFF Consultancy for Administrative Charging Committee recommendations. I think we had our group full, and then we lost a couple. Is that right, Charles?
Depends on which group we're talking
Okay.
about, but yeah, generally speaking.
But here we're to add a couple new ones.
Indeed, this is for the Administrative Charging Committee. We have 2 new recruits that are being put forward today, recommended highly for appointment, as well as an alternate to function if one of the existing members cannot perform their duties. That is the essential business of today. And once these members are appointed, assuming they are, they will be scheduled for training, 5 days, because the Administrative Charging Committee will then be a functioning unit of the county upon completion of that training, of course.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I have a little bit of a question for Charlie.
Shoot.
I'm assuming that, you've indicated that they've been properly vetted and interviewed and so forth. And has any of the law enforcement folks been involved in that process? I mean, are they familiar with these people?
One of the individuals, honestly, they may not. The very last person to squeeze through the door, I may not have, nope. In answer to your question, short answer, no.
This may be a little unusual, but we do have Sheriff Hickman here and his chief deputy. Could we ask Charlie and the sheriff to go out in the hallway and then come back if?
That's fine.
That's fair.
I just want to make sure that our law enforcement folks are kept up on exactly who these people are. I don't want someone on there that has a specific agenda.
Indeed.
And I think you agree with that.
I fully agree.
We want a totally
Yeah.
transparent, process with fairness and.
That fills the vetting in its entirety, so I'd be happy to do it. Would we do this ongoing or revisit later?
No, I think you can, if it's okay, you can come back in and we can, if everyone's in agreement, then we can go ahead and finalize.
Terrific.
When you and the sheriff go out in the hall and you come back when you're ready, and we'll handle you right away.
Copy that.
And Charlie, I'm sorry, I meant to call you when I saw this on the agenda, I just haven't had time. so.
No worries.
So I would recommend we jump ahead and take the next item that is non-police business on the
Sure.
agenda.
Captain Wicks and Captain Steve Wallace, again, from the Kent County Detention Center for a request to approval to move some funding.
First of all, thank you, everyone, for allowing us to meet with you today, Commissioners, and all your support that you give us. As mentioned, we'd like to move $60,000 from the benefit and health account line to the prisoner food account line to finish out the FY '23 budget, which we have 10 weeks left. Unfortunately, the food budget has increased dramatically due to COVID, other issues. Our numbers are real low, therefore they charge us a lot more per tray. To offset that, we've recruited inmates from other facilities to try to keep the costs at a minimum. Unfortunately, it's helped, but it hasn't depleted it completely. So therefore, we'd like to move the $60,000 as mentioned from the benefit health account to a line item to support the food account line for the remainder of the FY '23 budget. Sir.
I just have a question for you, Captain. You know, the cost of meals, am I correct? It's like $15
That's correct, sir.
with the current population numbers?
Correct. If the-
And when you bring inmates in from another jurisdiction to house those, to try to get the numbers up higher, are we really saving money or is it costing us money?
It's
With the
really saving.
expense of taking care of other, you know, I'm just wondering, you know, are we providing
Well,
services that are,
the other counties pay us for housing their inmate,
okay?
so that offsets that cost. And plus it
So
decreases.
you think it's a
I do. Yes, sir.
win situation? We're
Yes,
not
sir.
losing money.
No, sir. The tray increases decrease, and we get, other counties pay for the medical and for us housing. So the county's not absorbing no money from that aspect.
What is the amount that we receive for inmates for other counties, not the U.S. Marshals, but other counties, do you know?
It varies on that. I have to check with Officer Stickland with that one, because it's all in writing.
I'm just asking that question for my own benefit,
I
but,
would say, I think typically it's $60, $80 a day to house an inmate. And the marshals may be a little bit more because of their security rating, of course.
And I tell you, when I read that, I mean, obviously, we're gonna move forward to allow you to do that. This is just some discussion. I think it's got, because I remember there was, and Captain Wicks, you remember when we used to serve our own meals?
Yes.
I wonder how, I mean, it sounded like a good idea when we started farming it out. Wonder how that would, wonder if how that looks now. I mean, you think was it a good idea to go with this program versus doing it in-house?
I know when we first started, and I made that suggestion to the previous wardens, and I was like, is that gonna save us a lot more money, or is that gonna, in the long run, cost more? So I think right now it's starting to cost more, because the persons who were there, they was the ones actually finding the good deals and finding, like ordering the food from certain vendors and all that. Now we're locked into certain vendors who can raise the price up any day, and that's what they've been doing, because we're locked into them.
And they also have this thing built into the contract where if the population goes down, they raise their price because they want to be guaranteed enough to cover their costs and turn a profit. When I was reading that at home, I was thinking, we used to have a couple employees that, the ladies fixed meals, and we went to this, I don't remember exactly what the reason was, whether we lost some employees or we just chose to go this direction, but I'm not sure, that's a lot of money, $226,000? That's a lot of hamburgers and stuff. I don't know how that, whatever. But, something we might want to look into, just consider taking a second look at it now, but in the short term, we've got to go ahead and honor this, so I'm going to make entertain a motion if you.
yeah. I just had those questions. I have no problem making a motion to move $60,000 from the benefits health line to prisoner food line.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, gentlemen.
You know, before you leave, some of the previous conferences that I've actually been in attendance at, and because I was the sheriff, they also had the correctional vendors there as well. And there were a lot of prepackaged meals that, is that potentially maybe a cheaper option? I mean, they had all the nutrition that was required by law and had all the things. Is that something that maybe you've looked at, or is that a cheaper way of accomplishing this, or?
That's something to look into. I haven't really looked into that one, so that's something to investigate.
If you don't mind, maybe just taking a look at it, just to see if we can properly take care of our prisoners with a cheaper initiative.
And
I think it
another
would be a
thing,
good thing to try to
a
do.
lot of times, the cheaper way is not the best way,
I hear
because
you.
that's one of the number one starting fights and riots is over food, you know, the quality of the food or something like that. Because a lot of times, when they come in cheaper, they don't care what they're giving them. And it's like, we wouldn't even eat it. You know, so that's one of the
Well,
things.
maybe
we
that'll
gotta
keep
really
them from
look at.
showing up in jail. Maybe that'll keep them from showing up in jail.
Well, that's what I said a long time ago, but, you know.
I
But
think
the
you
law
have
says different.
offered some very interesting alternatives. We are in the middle of bidding this out.
I gotta step out. You finish your conversation. I
Sure.
gotta make I'll be 1 minute.
Okay.
So we are bidding it out currently, and I think it does need to be evaluated whether or not it's less expensive to bring it in-house versus, and also look at the prepackaged meal option.
I mean, it's no secret, you know, we're in the budget process, and,
Yes.
you know, my mind works a little differently than some people sometimes. But I'm constantly thinking of trying to figure out ways that we could save a dollar here or there.
Yeah.
That would help us accomplish what we need to do with our budget. And I'm not trying to shortchange anybody, it's just, you know, if there's a better way of doing it, that would be more cost-effective. I'd like to see us take a look at that.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate it.
So,
Into it, yeah.
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Until we get in.
So at this point, you have an option. You can either take a 5-minute recess, or you can move on
Or
with
Albert can step up as president for a
Yeah,
minute.
I
Or he
think
sure
so.
could.
I have no problem waiting for Mr. Fitton. In fact, here he comes now.
Will Charlie be back? Are we ready for Charlie? Is that where we're at on this?
I think so.
Okay.
Morning again. So, the individual in question is not known to local law enforcement, which generally is a good thing. And obviously, but this is why we're here, for review of the names recommended. If you know something that, in your experience, should give pause, then we can always table that name until further review.
I trust that our current sheriff doesn't know this person. That's probably a good thing, and
Very
probably
good.
they'll serve very well.
I believe they will.
So,
They seem an outstanding
I think
candidate.
it's fair to add that the background of this individual would lend well
Yeah.
to this
Yeah,
committee.
and he interviews quite well as well.
Yeah.
So,
so, having vetted all that out, I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommended candidates to the Administrative Charging Committee to include the recommended alternate.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Have a second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
terrific, thank you. If I may, just a moment, though, I wanted to note two things, I guess, for the record. The first is that we are still recruiting. It's late in the game, but if anyone listening to this is interested, go to the website, give a call, or stop by here at 400 High Street. That said, I think the county writ large owes quite a bit of gratitude to the 5 people who have thus far volunteered for this role. It's going to now take them a week of their time, 9 hours a day, for training, which is a substantial sacrifice since it's largely a volunteer operation. So I think the county should know that when they come back, you know, at least a slap on the back, because it's quite a thing to do for the county. They're all doing this just to serve Kent County.
Are they gonna have to travel for this training, or?
They are. They're going to have to travel out to Sykesville and spend a week in a barracks. So that's what they're doing. So I think the county should know, you know, what they're giving up.
I agree.
So,
There's no stipend or anything to help?
There's, the state is picking up the cost of the lodging. The county will be giving meal vouchers. And then there is normal meeting stipends that have been discussed. But for the most part, I mean, that's about it.
are they planning to carpool, or do you know, or
I'm sorry?
are they planning to carpool?
That's being worked out now. The travel agent aspect of this is going to be going on all week.
So, is it the county policy to offer mileage?
Yes. Mileage and meal vouchers are taken care of.
Good. We certainly don't want them to have to pay for anything out of their own pocket.
Understood. I'm making that happen.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Have a good day.
Mike, Mike,
I have a question. The vetting process, how far back do you go in a person's history, ancestry-wise?
That depends on their age. I'm sorry, making a cute remark. Social media, really as far back as their online profile will allow.
Yeah.
We're not rummaging through paper, but
I was more thinking of parents, grandparents, how far back, if any, in the history of the individual and their family.
I am not doing any lineage research.
Thank you. Perfect.
Does that mean you qualify now, Mike?
you checking on your, Sheriff
I
Hickman?
didn't hear anything.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please speak into microphone. All right.
It's our new system, and with the old system, the microphones were very sensitive, but
Yes,
they're
I
not
have-
so much.
I may have some individuals in my family that enjoy Washington. So we are here today for the official county process sign-off for our computers. And I'm going to let Captain Kettner talk a little bit about what these computers are. I think he's been here once before. Again, it's something that, you know, don't want to toot our own horn all the time, but the reality is this is something that Harry and Penny worked hard on, and it was something that we had asked for fiscal year '24, and we're actually going to get the governor's office to pay for it. So that's always a plus, and I know you guys are having a tough, difficult time for budget year, so whenever we can have some type of savings, what is it, 56,000 in savings for the Kent County taxpayer, then I think that's a plus.
It certainly is, and we thank you very much for pursuing that, and every little bit helps.
So I guess what the sheriff's office is looking for today is, there was a contract in the procurement process that was created between the county and Rugged Depot. Rugged Depot has signed off on that contract. We're requesting that now the commissioners sign off on that contract. There was also a sales quote for those computers, for that to be signed, and then for the purchase requisition to be approved so that it can be a purchase order, so that we can get these things ordered and have these and paid for in the time that the grant has told us that they have to be purchased by. So we're
And
looking for-
specifically, they are piggybacking on an existing contract that was competitively bid, so the pricing is secure.
Correct.
And you have to satisfy all this by June 30th, is that right?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, I have none.
I'm very, very thankful that you took the initiative, and along with Penny, to make this happen, because, as you just pointed out, I mean, we're gonna be able to save the taxpayers of Kent County locally $56,000, almost 57. So I'd like to make a motion to approve and sign a contract of sale with Rugged Depot to purchase 9 laptop computers for police vehicles under a piggyback agreement between the city of Tucson, state of New Jersey, and the Panasonic parent company to Rugged Depot in the amount of $56,809.98.
I have a motion and a second.
I have a second with a thank you as well.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for pursuing
Thank you.
that grant.
It's sort of a different topic, and I apologize, I know I'm only supposed to be talking about computers, but I'd just like to bring a light to the commissioners that I don't have, we have 3 vehicles that we're supposed to have for this fiscal year. I still don't have them yet, and two of them are at the outfitter to get the lights and sirens, but still, the reality is, I don't have those vehicles. And, there's been supply chain issues, microchips, we hear, there's all kinds of things that happen. And I know that, I would assume that the commissioners are most likely going to approve some vehicles for us for the next fiscal year. I don't know what that number would be, but I would just maybe make a suggestion that possibly if we could order those sooner than later, then that way we could get this process started, hopefully very soon, so I'm not waiting 10 months for cars. Just the other day, one of my 2016 Chargers, they had to put $2,000 in it, and that's a vehicle that unfortunately we got to keep on the road because we already have one that's sitting over there that's dead, so we got to keep it on the road. And unfortunately, since we're waiting for vehicles, we had to fix it, and it's a shame because we're going to be relinquishing that vehicle when the new ones come. So we have a number of those Chargers that are just maintenance nightmares, and we'd like to try to get those things off the road, with 100+ thousand miles on them. One has 162, so we're trying to get those out of there. So sooner than later is my request. If we could probably get those vehicles rolling, I would appreciate that.
I think we've had some conversations here at the board about looking into being able to do that for you. So hopefully we'll be able to accomplish that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Just got a question for you. Do you have any idea when the vehicles that you're currently waiting for were ordered?
I don't. I know it's definitely after the fiscal year from last year. I don't know exactly when they were ordered. I think, I don't know how the process with the county works exactly, but I assume once they get their allotment of cars and figure out what it is, I don't know, maybe September or something of that nature, I believe is, but I don't know that to be a fact. I think that's just what I had heard from Frank at Enterprise, but I don't know. So, I mean, I just knowing that, a police vehicle, even though if it was another department vehicle, we would have it by now, but of course it goes to the outfitter. And then when it goes to the outfitter, what are they doing? They have supply chain issues just like everybody else does. You know what I mean? So now you might have to wait for a siren box or wait for a light or wait for these things. So then it sits there. So then, I'm hoping before 12 months we were able to have these vehicles, but I don't know.
Yeah.
When I, at one time, was in the chair that you're in now, I experienced some of these same issues. And if my memory serves me well, it didn't used to be that way. We used to order the vehicles in March or April with the approval of the commissioners, and then they would be delivered sometime in early summer. And it's a little different with our paramedics and our sheriff deputies because those vehicles, they get pretty hard use. And when they're shot, they're shot. And it might be something that we want to remember every budget year that both the EMS and the sheriff's office, the public safety folks, because of the nature of what they're doing, their vehicles probably need to be ordered earlier than in the fall or early winter. I mean, I understand the reason why the county wants to do that, but it may not be the best option because as you just heard, it ends up costing money.
Right.
So,
We will certainly take that into consideration.
I think we're gonna be talking about vehicles today at some point in our budget workshop, and
It's on the list.
maybe we can give you some type of commitment to a certain degree anyhow. At least get some on board.
Yeah, I think it just makes fiscal sense, just financial sense. And I got, one of the other vehicles that we're going to be trading out needs tire rods and tires. And he came to me the other day, said, should I get them? And I was like, I'm waiting for the car to get done, buddy, so let's just hold off for right now, So we're just, it just makes no sense to continue to try to keep these cars on the road knowing that we're going to get rid of them. And the other vehicles that I have for next fiscal year, I mean, a lot of them are just shot as well, but we're trying to just patch them together, keep them on the road, so.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Be safe.
Thank you.
Bill Mackey, stabilization and landscaping of Rigby Slope at Betterton Beach.
Yes,
We
sir.
have a change order.
Good morning, yes, sir. So you all approved this in March, and we're underway and working quickly to try to get the project finished before the opening of Betterton Beach. Unity Landscaping uncovered a number of issues when they cleared away the very, very dense brush, found some broken up large concrete slabs, and Public Works, I'm very appreciative, came in right away and was able to dispose of those, but there was a very large amount of embedded rocks across the whole front of the site. So this change order allows them to remove that, put down a liner, reinstall all of that material in a way that hopefully will prevent erosion, match the design of the project, and won't slow down the project. This came up last week, met with a variety of folks, and we went ahead and approved that, and this is a follow-up for confirmation from you all. The funds paying for this project come from fee in lieu and fines and those kind of areas, but I'll probably need to transfer a little bit of money out of our vacant planner position to cover this change order, but I think that's all part of what we do, so. And if we collect more fines in the meantime, we'll use those as well, so.
Any other
Appreciate your
questions?
consideration.
Then I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the submitted change order for $16,092.50 to the Betterton Bank landscape renovation contract with Unity Landscaping.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. And
Thank you very much.
and I tell you, I've spent a lot of years here, and I think that Betterton Bank, that slope has been I'm glad to see it coming to an end, because that's been a thing of conversation for many, many years, of what they were gonna do there. So glad to see it moving forward. Thank you very
you.
much.
I also wanted to ask you a question since we're on this topic. Would you all like for there to be any sort of gathering when it's completed? I know the bathhouse had a ribbon cutting. I mean, that's a much bigger project. Don't know if you all, you don't have to answer me right now, but if you want to consider, is there some way of, memorializing that with the town that you might like to do? So just something
To be done
to
in
think about.
conjunction of the official opening of the beach for the summer, opening of the bathhouse.
Yeah,
Just an idea.
we'll let you know.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And it's on target to be finished by Memorial Day weekend.
May 26th. That's the goal for finishing. Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boone?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this one is pretty straightforward. We're just following the disposal policy for the previous AV system that we had in this room. The town of Betterton reached out to us and they asked if they could take a look at it and possibly repurpose the equipment. So that's what we're here for, is to ask for a motion to donate the equipment to the town of Betterton.
No, we don't have any use for it.
Do not.
I don't,
Having heard that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the reallocation of $3,825 of ARPA funds for broadband projects to the
Wrong one, Chair.
wrong one. Well, you have two of them here, Scott?
I do.
You want me to do it?
One is
Go
under
ahead,
departmental
go ahead.
appointments, one's.
Go ahead,
I'd like to
you do
make
it,
it-
and I'll second it. I'll do this one here when it comes up.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the disposal of the legacy audiovisual equipment and donate the legacy equipment to the town of Betterton.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Scott, I guess you're up next again with a request to reallocate some funds.
This is pretty important, so Commissioner Price can make this motion.
Already started.
So we came in under budget on one of our projects with our partner, and in the process of switching out the AV equipment, we noticed that there was some upgrades we could do to the microphones to amplify our voices a little bit better for the audience. So we're asking permission to shift those funds from the ARPA project to this project, the AV project.
So you want me to start where I left off?
Sure.
So we're clear, this is no additional funding from the taxpayers?
Not at all.
Correct.
Not at all.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the reallocation of $3,825 of ARPA funds for broadband projects to the AV enhancement project and approve the purchase of additional equipment from Solutionis.
Solutions.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you
Thank you
again.
very much.
Thank you.
Public Works Director. How are you this morning?
Good morning, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good.
We have three items on today's agenda. The first of which is to a contract award for Wharton Park. It is the Orem Field lighting upgrades. This is a project that's funded by the POS grant program. The county, as you know, was awarded a grant in the amount of $275,000 for this project. It is to retrofit the existing poles at Orem Field with energy-efficient LED lighting. Included in this work is an upgrade of the controls to remote operation controls, similar to what has been installed at the multipurpose field recently. The contract proposed is with Musco Lighting, who did the original installation at Orem Field, as well as the recent multipurpose lighting project, being done under a piggyback of a Sourcewell state contract. It is the purchase of the LED fixtures, install of the fixtures, and a 10-year warranty. And the total contract amount is $270,556, which is under the grant funding. This project does require, the POS program does require a 10% county match, so the total cost to the county is $27,055.60 at this time. I do want to bring to your attention that the multi-purpose field lights include the 25-year warranty. This current purchase is being made with a 10-year warranty. The reason for that is that the cost of the 25-year exceeds the grant funding we currently have. We have been in contact with the grant program from the state, and they are amenable to increasing the grant amount to cover the 25-year warranty. That will take about a month or so administratively. So at a later date, this portion is simply informative, but not part of the approval today. But at a later date, we will look to increase the contract amount by $11,922, just under $1,200 of county funding, to provide a full 25-year warranty. Basically, this breaks down to less than $80 a year for additional warranties. That would be, again, the 90% state-funded, 10% county match. But that is what we see. We have the price locked in for 4 months with the supplier, assuming we get approval of the increased grant funding. Today's item specifically is the install of the upgrades with 10-year.
So the 10% match, the 27,000, that was already budgeted in
Yes, sir.
FY '23.
Would I just have a quick question. I see that it's a DNR grant. and we just discovered, I guess, this year that the DNR had tied in in Turner's Creek and Galena, that we weren't allowed to till that. I know it's separate. I'm just wondering if there's anything kind of hidden in here or that we don't see that would prohibit us from using this for, I mean, obviously it's going to be for sporting events, but just making sure that we're not kind of not seeing anything, that's all.
Sure.
This is sort of this is the way it always operates.
Okay.
We always get those POS grants, where generally they're 90%, and we have to come up with 10%, so it's,
I mean, I fully support it, and I think
Yes.
it's
Yep.
great, but I just want to make sure, hopefully there's nothing hidden. And I do like the idea of the additional 15-year warranty at that
Absolutely.
cost, if we can get that done.
Yes, yeah, as I said, the
that'll
cost for
certainly-
that is locked in for about 4 months, and the state advised it would take 4 to 6 weeks for them to formally approve the additional funding. So once we have the approval from the state, we will increase the contract in that amount.
That'll certainly help Ronnie in 25 years when he's still here.
Absolutely,
He
yes.
doesn't have to worry about that, the lights at Work
this will
Park.
be yours. You'll have it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and sign the contract with Musco Sports Lighting under a Sourcewell Cooperative Governmental Purchasing Agreement for the installation of LED lighting upgrades at Ormfield and Wharton Park in the amount of $270,556, of which 90% of the funding is to be provided from a DNR program open space grant.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. The second item I'll present today is the grounds maintenance facility paving project. This includes repaving of the existing paved area at the grounds maintenance facility on Wharton Road, just across the street from the park. That area is used by county vehicles as well as a recycling drop-off area. The pavement is in a condition of disrepair. So the scope of this project would be to reconstruct that pavement and additionally pave over the existing gravel parking area at that facility. The project was advertised in March, opened at the end of April, with Image Asphalt Maintenance being the low bid. The base bid and alternates for increased pavement section in the recycling area, as well as paving the gravel area, came out to $93,387, which is within the amount that was budgeted in the capital budget for fiscal year '23. There was a third alternate that would provide a stone area adjacent to the parking lot where the grounds maintenance crews park their trailers. We wanted to see what the contractor cost would be. After reviewing their costs, this is an item that could be handled at a more cost-effective and efficient manner with our in-house staff. So that will not be awarded. It would be base bid and the first two alternates, as I said, in the total of $93,387.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve and sign the contract with Image Asphalt Maintenance Incorporated as the lowest responsive bidder in the amount of $93,387 for award of the base bid, alternate 1 and alternate 2 for the Wharton Grounds Maintenance Facility paving project.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Now, listen, I apologize, I've got to run, I'll be back, I probably won't be back until it's work session start, the budget work session, but I will be back. Not that it matters, but I dropped I've never heard tell this before, but I dropped someone off at the hospital this morning for a procedure, and I just got a phone call that the hospital closes at 11:30. Never heard tell of it, but I'm not gonna leave this individual there. I promised him I'd get him home, and, but I never give it a thought that I had to be there by 11:30. So, John, if you would carry on, I'll see you. I'll see you when I get back. I apologize.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda,
Yes, the third item, the final item I'll be presenting today is here at 400 High Street, the fascia and cornice repairs. The cornice is the decorative white metal element you see along the roof line of the building, and the fascia is the more structural element behind that. It's been determined recently that a portion, about a total of 100 feet of that, is in a state of deterioration, disrepair. We have had KRM come out and evaluate the system. The nuance here is that it's a custom system that was installed at the time the building was originally built. It's a fundamental piece of the historical character of the building. So providing something in kind to match has been somewhat challenging. However, KRM has evaluated the condition and the original design of this feature. They've done some work initially to stabilize it, temporarily make sure that it's not going to deteriorate other elements of the building and prevent things like pests from getting in. They've also developed very specific details and drawings to match the existing system, and they've identified a specialty supplier in the area who can produce this decorative cornice to match and, as I said, preserve the historical character of this building. So given that, they have a total proposal of $53,522. That would include all their work to date through full installation of the new cornice and fascia system. The funding for this project will be diverted from the roads department through some funding that has been available out of the diesel fuel fund because of the decreased price of diesel fuel over the last fiscal year compared to projections.
Any timeline on when this might be completed?
Yes. Upon approval, it will be a couple weeks for manufacturing the product and about 2 weeks of installation. So we anticipate by the end of June this will be completed.
In the proposal, it says no bends or corners. I haven't looked at it personally, but I'm assuming that is the scope of work that you need, or we need to have done.
Correct. It would tie into the existing system prior to the corners, yes.
All right. Commissioner Nickerson, if you'll make a motion.
I have to get back to here. I make a motion to award the contract to KRM in the amount of $53,522 to make necessary repairs to the county government building exterior fascia and cornice. Funding to utilize transfers of available FY23 Department of Public Works budgeted funds.
Second. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any opposed? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have the county administrator.
Okay, thank you. I have two requests for you this morning. The first is from Washington College. Dr. Harvey has requested a letter of support for a planning grant. This would be from the Maryland TEDCO, and this is for a makerspace initiative regarding the entrepreneurship program. So they've asked for several letters of support from various partner agencies to include the county.
And just, I guess, just so everybody knows that's out there, this is for the space of the old Dixon Valve building that the college acquired. And they're in the very preliminary stages of creating a maker space at that site, which is, I think it's a pretty neat, exciting idea. I've listened to some of the ideas, but it's still in its infancy, but I think it'll be great for the community.
So I would entertain a motion to support the letter if you want to do that.
I make a motion to send the support letter as drafted on the behalf of Washington College.
Second. All in favor? Or any opposed, rather? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, secondly, the Economic and Tourism Development Commission has submitted a recommendation for appointment. There is a term that is coming to close, and they have made a motion or made a recommendation for appointment.
I would entertain a motion if you choose to do so.
Trying to find it. Motion to approve the reappointment of the Economic and Tourism Development Commission member as recommended.
Second. Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, and third, I have just a report out. We received a request from Jeremy Rothwell, and he is the secretary of the Community Fire Company of the town of Millington, in the town of Millington. And he is requesting consideration of a surplus vehicle. So much like the one that we fielded last week, we would like to send a letter acknowledging his request and letting him know that the process will continue.
There's no action needed on that.
No action needed. I think Sheriff last week supported that idea. I'd just like to concur and say that I certainly support this.
Yeah, it's my understanding that we have one chase vehicle that will be surplused in FY '23 and one that will be surplused in FY '24 because of the supply chain issues from FY '23. So we will have two chase vehicles available, but not at the same time.
All right, next on the agenda is the Kent Alcohol and Tobacco Enforcement. Hello, Bonnie.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I have two things this morning. I have license updates. The first one would be changing of a member for the Harry Price to American Legion Post 246. I'm just requesting approval of change in officer on the liquor license. They have met all requirements and does not require any additional steps to be taken.
I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the change in officer on C. Henry Price II, American Legion, post number 246 liquor license as presented.
Second. Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The second license update would be for Galena Liquors surrendered their alcoholic beverage license number 4777 on 5/2/23 to me, Inspector Pearsall. I conducted a closeout inspection of the business and no alcohol was found on the premise. This was due to a business closure.
So that's just for our information.
For your information,
action.
that's correct. And that's all I have for today.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have letters for signature. One is the Social Services Advisory Board. And it's basically just a thank you letter for a person's service on the board, which will be done. We're taken care of. And now we're with public comment.
We have 3 individuals that are signing up right now.
Okay?
So if you want to take the first person, which is Mr. Wall.
Mr. Wall. Mike?
With 7 months to go between now and the next General Assembly regarding Kerwin, not surprisingly, is there anything that we as a community should be doing between now and next January with regard to Kerwin? Is because we have a pause and we know that where this is going from a financial perspective, is there anything that we should be doing either with our lobbyists or with community people to address the wealth formula? Are there people that we can go see during this pause so that we can, if necessary, get legislation pre-written to drop just as soon as the General Assembly goes in session for 2024? What can we be doing between now and then? It's a short 7 months, doesn't take much before we get to the General Assembly again, minus holidays and vacations and everything else. Is there anything that we could be doing, either from a community aspect or helping you guys out to get things going?
Well, you know, we're in the budget process right now. We've spoken briefly about, obviously, maintaining the services of our lobbyists throughout the entire year. We plan to engage, and I'm speaking for just myself right now, but you know, we plan to continue the engagement with the lobbyists throughout the summer. We plan to engage at some point with Delegate Jacobs and Delegate Grace and Delegate Arentz, along with Senator Hershey, to hopefully draft some legislation so that we can drop it day one.
Yeah.
I do believe, and I think you've seen some of these articles, in fact, I know you have, because you are very nice and you share those with us, and that's very much appreciated. But this is a problem that a lot of other jurisdictions are actually on top of as well. And a lot of them have a lot more clout in Annapolis than we do. So I am very, very hopeful, although I don't want to just assume, but I'm very, very hopeful that some type of reconsideration is going to occur at the state level in the upcoming session. It has to.
Yeah.
It has to. And I think everyone knows that. Now, whether that's going to happen, I don't know. But sooner than later, they're going to have to deal with it. And we were hopeful that they were going to deal with it this year, but they didn't. We also are going to have an opportunity in the very near future to have, or to actually host our new governor and the cabinet here in Kent County, his cabinet. And there's going to be a lot of conversation that's going to take place during that time, whenever the opportunity allows it to happen. So between the three commissioners and their staff and so forth. So I mean, I think there are some things that we do need to, obviously, it's not leaving the top of my list at all. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Commissioner Fithian feels the same way. And we're going to stay engaged and try to do our very best to either bring the funding to Kent County or get them to take a look at the wealth formula.
Yeah, I remember
which is
Jeff-
probably going to be a bigger challenge
Yeah.
than we know, because they just don't want to do that.
I remember Jeff Christ, when he was sitting here saying the people that, and I don't know who the staff members are, or delegates or senators that are in charge of that wealth formula. But I remember Jeff sitting here saying they just don't want to hear about it anymore. But the fact remains, looking at that spreadsheet, that we are at every column, every categorization, every column that they have in that spreadsheet, we're either last or next to last, including FTE, full-time enrollment. But once you divide full-time enrollment by total wealth, we become the third highest. It's upside down and inside out. So how do can we get to those people now to sort of start greasing the skids for them to at least consider looking at it? Because the way Jeff sat here, right in his chair, he said, yeah, they don't want to hear it anymore. Well, that's not good, because it's totally wrong looking at the numbers, man. It just glares out at you. So is there anything that we can be doing over the next 7 months to get to those people to say, wait a minute, time out, let's take a look at this, let's be fair and reasonable. It's not that you can't just hold a blind eye and say, no, you don't want to talk about it anymore, because there's a glaring issue here that needs to be addressed. I'm just curious from a community standpoint, do we get, I think it was Brian Matthews that said, can we get letters going, call, whatever we need to do to get things going. Well, I'm looking for direction from you folks as to what I can do, as an individual here too. So that's where we're at.
Well, I think anytime that you can communicate with your elected leadership that serves us in Annapolis, I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I didn't get a reply.
And I know you routinely do that, because I've seen your correspondence.
Yeah, they never reply, though.
Well, I would reiterate everything the sheriff said, and I think that probably for us as a board, our shot's going to be, we think right now, sometime in June when we have the governor in our county with all of his department heads. I have also, I would say, like the sheriff said, probably unfortunately, it's the top of the list for all of us, which I think kind of takes away from some of the other things that we may or may need to do. But every time I have a conversation with any elected official about the wealth formula, they basically just blow me off and say, well, that's not going anywhere, you're wasting your time. That's exactly what they've, almost to a word. So I think, so we've basically been told we have to take a different approach. And that approach is to embrace Kerwin, say that we love it, and now that we love it, we need help funding it. And I know that that's not necessarily what a lot of people want to hear, but I guess it's just the game that we have to play at this point in time. And I know it's not a game, but we're working doing the best we can do, trying to get help. I'm not confident in getting the help. I agree. I think any letters and phone calls that you can make, anybody can make in the county, can't hurt. I don't know how much it helps. I really,
Is the meeting with the governor going to be an open meeting or closed session?
It's going to be
Closed?
The governor is hosting a meeting in Kent County, so we're actually not going to be in attendance at his meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And I also saw your chart that you put together, and it's pretty alarming. I would encourage you to publicize that,
Yeah, that would probably.
because the citizens of Kent County need to understand. I saw $1.6 million to 2.4 the next year, right on up to 5, 9, $9 million. We don't have that kind of money. And
For those that are not aware, according to, if I might, according to the Department of Legislative Services, back in 2022, they said that for fiscal year 2024, Kerwin should affect Kent County by just $600,000. And it turns out to be 1.6 million, which is a factor of 2.7, more than what they had estimated. And the Department of Legislative Services is saying they can estimate, or they think they can estimate what Kerwin is going to cost, or they are estimating, but it's a constantly moving project, target, but that Kerwin is going to cost much more. And we just saw Baltimore City. The estimate for Kerwin was 12 million, and it was 79 million, in addition to their normal budget. Well, if you take that 2.7 million, factor of 2.7, and extend that for the 10-year implementation plan, it's an alarmingly high number. If you take it on a by-year basis from 2024 to 2034, the additional cost on a by-year basis from the original estimate of 2022 was $43,700,000.
at the very end.
If they're totally off base, and it's going to cost us 3 times that, 2.7, rounded up to 3, we're looking at $120 million in additional education cost and that's at the end of the 10-year figure. Heck, we can't afford the 43 million. How are we going to afford 120 million? If you want a reference point, if you take the number of households in Kent County, which is 8,200, that comes, the original estimate was $5,000 a household, just as a reference point. 120 million is $15,000 per household as a reference point. That doesn't mean that's what the taxes are gonna go up, but it's a reference point as to what it costs each individual household to implement Kerwin. And the numbers are staggering. And the more they get into it, the more they're finding that this thing is, it's supposed to be a slow ramp up. Well, it's not a slow ramp up. It's dead nuts at 60 miles an hour already. Is that a fair and reasonable explanation?
I think you presented it pretty well.
Kent County News, get that out.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Miss Janet.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that we submitted the Kent County Storied Landscape to the Chesapeake Film Festival, and it was accepted. And that happens in Talbot County, and so it will be part of their film festival. I think it's the week of September 1 through October the 8th. And they have both at their theaters for 2 days, and they also have a virtual film festival down there. So we were pretty excited that that happened. And I just wanted to let you know that Kent County gave us $10,000 to help produce that film. And we're very grateful to you. But the actual cost that we did in terms of the amount of money that we raised from the state grants and from private, and also all of the in-kind work that we did, was over $140,000. So I think you leveraged your $10,000 fairly well, and we just wanted to let you know that. We don't have the numbers yet on the viewing. It was shown twice during the week of Chesapeake Bay Week when they have it on MTV, and it's still available, and it's been downloaded into PBS. And I have friends that live in Germany; they have viewed it, and I also have friends that live in Utah and California, and they have all viewed it because they have the link to the PBS program. So it's not just here; it's actually accessible to anybody anywhere by just going onto the PBS app and looking for it, and they can find it. So it's hitting more people than just locally. And I'll get the numbers for you as soon as our producer gets back to us. They're putting those together right now. They can tell how many people viewed it. Not exactly, but they get a good idea. So just wanted to let you know.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Next, we have Mr. Reed, Roger Reed. How are you, Roger?
Could be better. Could be better. I'll be brief. I'm here about building permit issues. Just a little brief. Over the last 3 years, I've built 30 townhouses in Chestertown, with the town of Chestertown. No problems. Everything works smooth. 3 years ago, I built 6 houses out Chesapeake Landing, and it was just very, very difficult to deal with the permit office. Not the ladies up front, but the people behind. So I gave up. Tried to sell my land out there. Of course, couldn't do so. So went and got the permits, got 6 houses going out that direction, one in Fairlane. And
Why don't you pull up a chair?
I'm always being harassed and badgered by Brian Foreman and the higher-ups. So always in a conversation about things. So reluctantly, I do what they want to do. No other counties and jurisdictions I've ever been make us do these things, but I do it. Reluctantly, yes. So one particular house I have out in Fairlane, Brian Foreman comes out, and apparently he sees that the roof line of what I built doesn't match the permit or the plan I submitted, which is true. When I was building it, I made a change on the roof to give me some more space in the house. Everywhere else I go, it's not that big of an issue. Don't even mean to get redrawn. So Brian touches me out, and I said, all right, I'll get the thing redrawn. But he puts a stop work order on the house. I got $12,000 worth of windows laying in there. Plumber has all his stuff scattered everywhere. So there's a lot of money inside there. And in my belief, and while I read the rules and regulations, it's a bogus stop work order. They had no right to stop work for that particular incident. So I continued working there to protect my interests. So then I get a ticket from them, and $500 ticket for working on the stop work order. So I read all the stuff, and of course I want to stand trial because I believe it to be bogus. So Brian Foreman says, I can't lift the stop work order until you pay the $500 fine. So how can I stand trial and continue my project, which would take months and months to adjudicate? That's called, that's as corrupt as one can see. In my opinion, I can't see of anything more corrupt. And then we had to submit another sediment control plan to the county, which I got the surveyor out there, did so. And Baldwin, Mr. Baldwin, okayed it. He approved it. I guess he is with Soils Conservation. So then Brian and his, I guess, higher-ups said that's not good enough. They want me to do a big sediment control plan. That will probably cost me $5,000 in a month to do. So I'm here today because there's no question in my mind that they're trying to drive me out of business in the county, which is fine. I don't have any problem with it. But the point being is they can't have it both ways. Either you want the new houses that I've created for people and try to make it as easy as can be, like other jurisdictions do, or you don't want any more houses and just leave it like it is. So what I'm asking the board to consider is to talk to the higher-ups over there and let me continue building to lift the stop work order and let the $500 ticket adjudicate itself in the courtroom and accept the storm order that Mr. Baldwin okayed. I mean, I'm not asking for much. Otherwise, the thing's just going to sit there for months on end.
I'm assuming, and maybe our county administrator can answer this question for me. I'm assuming that the citation, the civil citation that was issued by the enforcement officer goes to district court to be
I'm
heard?
actually going to defer to the, I'm getting a head nod, yes. I was assuming that was correct, but I didn't want to speak if I wasn't certain.
Does it go to district court?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do we have a hearing date?
We do not.
Okay.
We've notified the county attorney of that. If Mr. Reed makes that option, that's certainly an acceptable option, but we can't allow the work to go on until the revised building permits for the different house that's being constructed are approved. And regarding the stormwater management issue, Mr. Baldwin was on the site and was the one who let us know that clearly what's happening on the site exceeds 20,000 square feet, and that requires the more detailed plan. So that actually is Mr. Baldwin's part of that decision.
Okay,
We're also waiting that.
so I knew Mr. Reed was coming in because he called me yesterday, and I called Mr. Mackey, and we spoke. I think there's some photographs that were taken that I want to refer to as we're talking, so are they loaded?
Yes,
They're ready to go, okay. So it appears, when I spoke with Mr. Mackey yesterday, he indicated that the person who has to relook at the roof line or the changes in your construction will be there sometime this week. They come in once a week. As soon as they take a look at it, and as soon as they can move forward with either approving or disapproving what you're trying to do, is it possible, Bill, that we could lift the order and just wait for the hearing? Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility if the erosion sediment control issues on site are also addressed.
Okay, and that's the next thing we're going to talk about. But these are two different locations. One's in Chesapeake Landing, one's in Fairleigh.
My understanding is that all of the sites have erosion sediment control issues.
All of them do, okay. All right, so you know, you're innocent until proven guilty. So I would like to let it all go through the process sometime this week, have the guy take a look at it, and I'm assuming it's a guy. The staff take a look at it, that needs to take a look at it. And if they can make the appropriate decision, whether it's permissible or allowed or whatever, to let him to go ahead and continue to work if we get the sediment stuff taken care of. And here's the problem with the sediment. If you look up on the screen, I was sent 3 different pictures yesterday.
Where would that pictures be?
I would have to refer to Mr. Mackey exactly where they were taken, but I'm assuming that
Which screen would that be?
it's the one with the, is it not showing on your side?
Yes, it's the one in front of
Okay.
Mr. Mackey.
Bill, can you explain where that picture was taken?
So I was not at the site. Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Foreman visited various sites and took pictures showing that when it rains, there is pollution that is heading out to the streams from these sites. And my understanding is, although these are sample pictures, that that's happening at all the sites. And tomorrow, there's going to be some further inspection. I don't know if you were going to talk about that or perhaps.
And I think there's 2 other pictures, if you're able to show those. And I'm assuming this is a culvert to the driveway to the site.
And I understand that not all of the construction entrances are in place at these sites, and that's also an issue.
I'd have to disagree with most everything, all this.
What'd you say,
I'd
Roger?
have to disagree with most everything the gentleman's saying. It's a bunch of bogus, but if they want me to put a little silk fence, I'll comply. If they want a little of this and a little of that, I'll comply.
All right, well, let's look at the next picture.
3 pictures, and the first picture was a home construction.
With the dumpster in the roadway.
Yes.
Now, Roger, that dumpster sitting in the roadway,
It is. I was contacted by County Roads, and hopefully, I believe it's gone today. Sometime today, it'll be gone.
I hope so, because, I mean, that really is a liability that I don't think you want to assume if someone comes down that road and hits that thing.
Well, agreed. Well, you know, we got caught in a situation where we had all that rain,
I hear
and
you.
if you put the dumpster where the stone, you know, the dumpster was where they wanted more stone, which I've had thousands of dollars with stone, these construction interests, so I had to remove the dumpster to put the stone there, and then level the stone, and the dumpster is the only place I could put it right there, where there's only 2 houses on the road.
Well, to me, the clear answer to resolving this particular issue, number one, I'm glad that you're building some affordable housing here in the county.
Appreciate it.
I'm very happy about that. Okay, and I don't want to speak for Commissioner Nickerson, but I mean, this is something that I think is very much needed throughout the county. To have some affordable housing for a younger workforce. And so I'm thankful that you're doing that. But in saying that, we've got to follow the rules when it comes to making sure that things are taken care of environmentally. You know, we don't want all that nasty water there that you see running into our streams, running into our bay and tributaries.
Fair enough.
You know, that's not good for the county either.
Agreed.
So, you know, when all this goes through a permit process, there were certain rules that had to be followed. And yeah, Kent County's rules might be a little stricter than Queen Anne's or some other jurisdictions, but there are our rules, and our rules need to be followed. I do believe that if you can get the sediment control, and yes, it's gonna cost you some money. And I'm sorry about that, but the rules are the rules. But I mean, if you can get the sediment control stuff taken care of, we can get the approval of the different roof line sometime this week, maybe taken care of, and you can go back to work on that property. I know it's not what you want to hear. And yes, you'll have your day in court to defend whatever you think you need to defend. But the commissioners don't have any authority over that. You know, I mean, you know, I didn't have authority when I was a sheriff with somebody that got a traffic ticket. years ago, I think they probably did, but I did not want that authority. And it would be wrong for me to even interfere in that. It would be unethical for me to do that.
But
And so you'll have your day in court, hopefully whenever they decide to schedule it. And if you take care of the sediment control stuff and wait for the approval of the person that needs to review it, and they approve it, then I would ask Mr. Mackey to lift the order, which I think we do have the authority to do, to lift the order so you can go back to work. But until we get this resolved, we're duty bound as county commissioners to enforce the rules. And as much as, you're doing good things for the county, but as much as we'd like to, continue to see you build affordable housing, we can't allow you to do it without following the rules.
I understand, if we could, let me finish what I have and you'll never see me again.
Well, I
got
hope we
to be
do
done.
see you again. I hope we do
I mean,
see
I
you
gotta be
again.
done. I mean, this is a one-sided, slanted situation. They go out there and take 2 or 3 pictures. It's probably not reflective of the whole thing over when you have 4 inches of rain. And you could go on any site that is in this county and see the same, take a small take a picture and get the same thing.
Is there any silk fence at all?
Yes, there's plenty of silk fence. I probably have
I see some
2,500.
around those trees there, but I mean, that really doesn't look like it's,
I got $2,500 worth of silk fence. That's what it cost me to put all that silk fence up on these sites. And so the point about it is, Foreman was out there and showed me where he wanted the silk fence. I complied and put the silk fence exactly where he instructed me to put the silk fence. So now to take a picture of it, the silk fence is still there. So now to take a picture of it, you have to put some responsibility on Foreman too. I mean, I complied. There's no letters in here, no documentation that he called and demanded immediate attention to any silk fence. And you go out there and do that, that's to me, if we gotta do some more silk fence, fine. Because I can see sediment going into the ditch. I can see that.
I don't
And-
like the looks of that. The picture I'm looking at here with the dumpster in that ditch filled with obviously runoff, which we know where that's gonna end up. I don't, that's not being responsible, and I hope you don't take offense to that. But
No,
that's-
it's all right.
But that's not being responsible, as far as maintaining a construction site the way it should be.
Well, I kind of agree with the picture of the stream there. I kind of agree. But the point of the matter is, again, none of these construction sites that I've ever seen are 100% foolproof. And I didn't put that silk fence where I wanted. I put it where Foreman instructed me to put it. And all that was done under Foreman's telling me where he wanted all this. I didn't make this up myself. So blame me for all this. I understand it. You can, because it's my responsibility to keep it out of the ditch. But tell you the truth, I didn't know that we were going to have that on one of my sites. I'm sure all the other ones, if they had pictures of it, so there's 1, 2, 3, there's 6 houses, and they got a dumpster and the one ditch that could easily be remedied. And to put me a stop work order for a roof line and then cite me, those are whole totally different issues. This is an issue that can be easily fixed. I'll go out there with Foreman, and fix it at, whatever he says the fix should be, since they seem to be the experts in that. And furthermore, every time Brian Foreman comes out to the job, he hides a tape recorder. And I see that he has a hidden tape recorder. What is the purpose of this? I mean, I wouldn't say anything to Brian that I wouldn't say to the boss over there. And it's just bad business, bad business.
Unfortunately, there are folks that have jobs that sometimes they're not very popular. I personally know Brian. I think he's a very, very nice guy. Tries to do the best he can. I would hope he's not using a tape recorder, because if he is, that's against the law unless he notifies you that you're being recorded.
he
So
doesn't.
I would hope that that would not be occurring. But You know, I mean, we have him as one of our enforcement officers, and he has a certain responsibility and certain duty to try to fulfill his role there. And until I see something differently, I'm going to continue to, you know, support Mr. Foreman. Although, because Roger, I have to tell you, look, I've known you for a lot of years, but that is, for lack of better words, a hell of a mess that needs to be cleaned up.
Fair enough. I don't have a problem with
And
that.
if you do that, and we get the approval for the roof line for the other house, I think that will allow you to go back to work and finish your projects. Now, what happens with your day in court, that'll be up to Judge Nunn, I guess.
Would it be prudent for the boss, Mr. Foreman, to go out there and instruct where specifically he wants the corrections to be made?
Bill, is that something that,
So my understanding is that there's site inspections being scheduled for tomorrow with NDE and the district, and they're the experts in these matters, and they'll be there to convey that
Make-
information.
make suggestions on what needs to be done?
I'm not the subject matter expert, but those folks will be present on the site.
So maybe tomorrow there'll be someone out there. Will you, can you coordinate with Mr. Reed, maybe exchange phone numbers so that we can kind of work together and respect each other without conflict?
Yeah, why'd they have to call MDA? They didn't have to do that. They just made the thing 10 times bigger by doing that. And it's just, and what they did is just try to cause me more trouble. Let's be obvious here. And him saying no, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, to call the state agencies in on me like this, that just put the bullseye right on my back. I mean, come on. Well, fair enough. I just had my say. It's just, hopefully I can get done what I'm going and either stay in Chestertown or adios, as I say.
Albert, do you have anything you want to
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so I'm a contractor as well in Kent County, and you said nobody's 100% perfect. I am when it comes, I'm teasing, Roger, I'm teasing. But you know, I fortunately haven't incurred any issues like this. I mean, I think that the department, like the sheriff says, they have code enforcement officers who probably aren't the most popular people when they show up and tell us all, smack our hands and tell us all that we've made a mistake. So, I mean, I would just say that, you know, hopefully we can get things moving forward for you. I also understand the value of your timeline and trying to get this, the efficiencies of trying to get this project done as well. But at the end of the day, I would also like to say that, you know, a lot of these issues that we're talking about aren't controlled by the county. I mean, these are state legislations or state and codes that we all have to abide by. I think that it's easy to say, you know, oh, well, Kent County's this or Kent County's that. Well, Kent County's just following Maryland state guidelines when it comes to this stuff in a lot of issues. Fortunately, in my experience, you know, we've always been able to work together, as I'm in hopes that we can do for you or they can do for you and get this thing resolved. You know, and hopefully, you know, tomorrow, I mean, I have all the faith in Mr. Baldwin. I really do. I think that he's a good guy. And he's a very good planner. So hopefully, after tomorrow, things can be moved forward for you. And you know, again, you can have your day in court. But I'm all for if we can, you know, get you going before your day in court. Then you know, I certainly support that idea.
Well, fair enough, but it's just bad business. If you're trying to attract people like me, it's just terrible business.
Well,
What do you say?
well,
And I do know business. Believe me.
All right,
thank you, Roger.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to say anything? Hearing none?
John Q. Public says no.
John Q says no? Okay. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment. But before we do that, I would just like to note that we will come back at 1 o'clock for the budget work session. And that'll begin at 1 o'clock, and Commissioner Fithian will serve as the chair.
We hope.
So I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.